Okay, whenever you guys are ready.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting for the town of Newton. Today's date is June 3rd, 2025, and the time is 6 o'clock. Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Okay, citizens input. Any citizens that would like to speak on behalf of anything that's on the agenda today?
There's nobody on.
I see none. So we are going to move on to administration. Paula, you had something for us?
Oh, I thought I was last.
No, you're first.
You're right on the spot.
Just wanted to update everybody for what I've been working on the last few weeks. I've been getting acclimated with everything here in Newton, and catching up on the 2024 bank information and getting that updated and reconciled. I'm halfway through the year. And once all that is updated, I plan on meeting with all of the departments to see what they need or want from me, and to try to figure out a better way for everybody to keep track of their budget.
Great.
Very no, good.
I think that's it, right?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much. And then we have a representative from Country Pond Lake Association to make a presentation for us.
Hi, I'm Linda Foss. I'm on the board of Country Pond Lake Association. I'm the communications director. I'm sorry, Greg Senko, who's been here before, wanted to come tonight, but he's not feeling well, so I'm going to try to fill in for him. It's an update on the boat ramp project. The good news is the final application for the grant has been completed, and the grant's been fully awarded to CPLA for the $97,000. And as of now, we can start to spend money and get reimbursed for the project. However, because the grant is for more than $10,000, we need to send it out to bid. We've been working on a bid request with DES for the past couple of weeks, and I think we're going to be ready to send it by the end of next week. If you'd like, we can email it to you. The one thing that won't be included on the bid request is engineering oversight. That was recommended by DES. The reason it would not be is because it's under $10,000, and they would like to have KV Partners do it for continuity's sake.
Sure, that makes sense.
It does. So the bid should be out by mid-June. We're going to give a 4 to 6 week response time. They'll close in August, and we hope that we should have someone selected by September. We did have a question for you, though, and that is whether or not we should include a request for a performance bond. And the concern that we have about it, that DES had said as well, is this is a time-sensitive project. I mean, we don't want to have the boat ramp down during peak season. We'd really like to have it started in November and finished by the end of December, with the only thing that might come after that is some site stabilization work to be done in the early spring. Also, we absolutely have to have it completed by an invoice by September of 2026. So do you typically require performance bonds for projects of this size, or is it something that's come up in the past, or?
Occasionally, we've done it with some projects that take place in town.
Okay.
I mean, it's beneficial only because, as you alluded to at the very beginning of it, when you started talking about it, it's self-protection to help guarantee, so that way there, no further cost will end up being accrued.
Right. Okay, so it's okay if we include that, and that
Yeah,
makes sense to you?
I don't have a problem with it, gentlemen.
No, good. Nope.
Okay. Do you have any other questions about it this time, or?
No, I don't think so. You guys have kept us pretty well informed of this whole
Okay,
thing, which is good.
okay, great.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
and we appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you. There is one other thing, though, that we wanted to keep you informed of. A few days ago, a Kingston resident filed a complaint against CPLA with the New Hampshire Attorney General. This is regarding our activities with invasive weed remediation. This is nothing that we've worked with the town of Newton on. We've done it independently, and we have asked Kingston for reimbursement, but we did want to let you know as well. What they're saying is that CPLA, New Hampshire DES, and 2 divers who we've worked with for the past 2 years have been colluding to knowingly spread an invasive weed that's in Country Pond so that we can have an excuse to use herbicides to get rid of it instead of the divers. The individual who filed this complaint brought up a series of points. We went through it thoroughly, and there's really, all of it can be easily disproved. It's things like they were missing minutes from a meeting that never happened, a number of things. Anyway, we've put together a complete response to that, and we're seeking legal counsel. But before we did any of that, the first thing we did was we called our contact regarding the boat ramp project, and she said not to worry. She said that it wouldn't affect that at all. Nor will it affect, I believe, anything to do with the boat ramp project that we asked Newton for, the Lake Coast project that we've asked for money from warrant articles. Those two things should go along smoothly because they're not invasive remediation and they're different organizations and different departments. But we just wanted to make sure if you hear anything that you knew that we were on top of it and it really wasn't going to affect how we move forward with the other projects, so.
Who did he lodge a complaint with?
He sent an email to the New Hampshire Attorney General's office. He said he was filing a plaint.
And did the Attorney General contact you guys?
They haven't yet, and I'm guessing that it's early, and we're hoping that maybe this will just.
I don't think you're
Not
going to
happen.
get contacted by the Attorney General.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because we've asked a lot of people, and they didn't know what would happen next.
No, I don't. So I've been holding public office in various roles for a while, and it's almost not a constant, but probably once a year somebody threatens the Attorney General and says that they've contacted and all this. I never hear anything. The only time the Attorney General contacted me was during COVID because somebody called at my business, somebody called the Attorney General that my employees weren't wearing masks. That's the only time that I've talked to the Attorney General, and I've been doing this public thing since 2016. So I don't think you're gonna hear anything because me sitting here, and I've heard a lot, his complaint seems really far-fetched. I mean, I've never even heard of that before, and that just seems like a wild accusation, so.
Honestly, the intent is to just disrupt our activities, and, you know.
And I
we
mean,
can do
I've
that.
seen you guys checking boats and making sure, like, why are you doing that? Why would you waste your time doing that, you know? When I read, because I saw it, somebody posted it. When I read it, like, what are they doing? Holding the plant, and when they're inspecting my boat, sticking it on the boat, the trailer as I back in? Like, come on. So I wouldn't expect to hear from the Attorney General.
Okay,
That's my opinion.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Linda, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate all the information.
Okay, you're welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a good night.
All right, big man. We're gonna get the fire department monthly update.
Hey, Mikey.
Greetings.
Robin Mike Connolly entered the meeting at 6:09.
You want to wait till Mike's all set? Thank you. Thank you.
Could just put the mic on you went up, so
Okay,
just get that up.
appreciate it.
You ready? Yeah. Let her rip, chief.
Thank you. Good evening, board.
Evening.
I appreciate you letting me come a month late for the April report. Thank
We'll
you.
forgive you this time.
Thank you. For April, there were a total of 47 calls. The breakdown, 1 mulch fire, 23 rescues EMS, 1 power line down, a propane leak, 5 public assists, 2 mutual aids, 2 dispatched and canceled en route, 2 odors, odor of smoke, a smoke scare, 1 fire alarm, and 10 special incidents. The highlight of the month was on April 5th, Amesbury Fire was requested for a medical transport in the town of Newton. On April 7th, East Kingston was dispatched for auto aid for one of the fire alarms. On April 12th, Plastow ALS was requested for their paramedics to assist our ambulance crew. April 17th, Plastow Fire Department was requested for mutual aid for a propane leak in a commercial building. On on April 18th, Engine 2 was requested to the town of Plastow for mutual aid for a structure fire. On April 21st, Car 1, Tank 4, Forestry 1, and Tank 5 were requested to the town of East Kingston for the multiple brush fires on the railroad tracks that evening. On April 23rd, Engine 2 and Car 1 was requested to East Kingston for an MVA with entrapment. On April 23rd, again, Tank 5 was requested to the town of Hampstead for mutual aid for their structure fire. On April 25th, Plastow ALS was requested again for their medics to assist our ambulance crew. On April 26th, Tank 4 was requested for a live burn drill in East Kingston. On April 29th, Plastow ALS was requested again to assist our ambulance crew with the transport. And we continue to do joint training between Plastow, East Kingston, Kingston, Amesbury. Okay?
Chief, what's the trigger for Plastow ALS?
Newton has no paramedics.
Huh?
We have no paramedics on shift or no paramedics coming back on the call site.
Okay.
So if the day crew, if the duty crew is an EMT basic or an EMT advanced, and it is a priority call that requires paramedics, we try to get Newton paramedics. If not,
You have to call it.
We have to call
And they
them.
show up with the Tahoe and.
Correct.
That's what they do, okay.
correct. And then what we've been doing, each department's a little different since we're so close to Plastow, and close to Exeter Hospital. Once their medic gets into our truck, if they only need one person in the back of our ambulance, that extra person will take the fly car and follow them to Exeter Hospital.
Sure.
That way it can go back and service quick
Okay,
for the other surrounding communities.
makes sense.
With them,
Okay.
okay? So for April, there was 7 ALS calls, 8 were BLS calls, and 5 were no transport calls. Those are rough estimates. Starting this month, the new billing company. So once they get their feet and continue, they will give an exact breakdown for the board,
Awesome.
exactly of everything.
Awesome.
Okay? I also have Mays, but I didn't have a chance to forward it to the board. I can do it now and send it to the board tomorrow.
Yeah,
Or we
just-
can wait.
Just send it to us.
Okay, you want to wait for
Don't
next
worry
month, or you
about
want to do it now?
Do it now.
But no.
Okay. Alrighty. For the month of May, There were 4 building fires. It was a busy month, you're gonna see as we get along. There were 4 building fires, 1 lawnmower fire, passenger vehicle is how it goes under, in town. There were 24 EMS calls, 1 propane leak, 8 public assists, and the public assists can be anything from a lift assist to assisting the PD, to anything, okay? So when I say public assist, that's what I mean. 1 dispatch and cancel en route, 4 CO alarms, 4 incidents. Now comes the fun part. The highlights, May 3rd, A1, which is our backup ambulance. We, as the board knows, we rotate them every few months so they can both get used. So A1 was called to the town of Merrimack, Mass. For medical transport. On May 5th, East Kingston was called to Newton to assist with a commercial fire alarm. On May 8th, A1 was called to the town of East Kingston for medical transport. Also on May 8th, the fire prevention crew did a school event at our local school with the fire apparatus. On May 10th, Engine 2 was called to the town of Kingston for a gasoline leak towards the water. Okay, on May 11th, Plastow EMS give me call. When I say Plastow EMS, that's Plastow Fire. That's their ambulance coming into the town to do a transport. May 11th, Plastow Fire EMS was called to the town to do a medical transport on Marcoux. On May 11th, the department responded to the lawnmower fire. On May 12th, Engine 2 was called to the town of Kingston for a building fire. On the 13th, they were called again for another building fire. On the 14th, Plastow EMS was called for a medical transport in town. On May 15th, East Kingston was auto aid for a fire alarm at the school. On May 17th, Plastow Fire was called to assist with the residential fire alarm. The crew on the 17th was actually doing a medical transport out of Sergeant Woods to Exeter Hospital. So that's why they called for Plastow to do the fire alarm. The call crew did not come back. On May 18th, A1 was called to the town of Plastow for a medical transport there. On the 19th, A1 and Car 1 was called to the town of Kingston for an MVA where the medics on shift assisted Kingston and I believe it was East Kingston with our medics. On the 22nd, Plastow ALS was called to assist A1 with a medical transport. On the 22nd, again, Engine 1 was called to the city of Amesbury, Mass. for a building fire. On May 23rd, Plastow ALS was called again to assist A1 with a medical transport. On the 24th, they were called again to assist A1 with a medical transport. On the 24th, again, Plastow Fire was called to do a medical transport on their own out of Quaker Street. On the 25th, Plastow Fire was called again to do another medical transport out of Marcoux. Since we stood up here in March with the default budget and we explained that with the default budget, if we have open shifts, we have open shifts. That's why you'll start seeing this trend as the summer continues, that there'll be more and more mutual aid coming into the town. And I said that in March, it's not gonna make a difference if it's an ambulance coming to do a transport in town or a fire truck to do it. For ALS, Plastow ALS service is the only one. For the ambulance, depending on where the call is located, we have an agreement with Amesbury and Plastow. I can tell you, standing here, if Newton was the town that was going on a regular basis to another community to do their transports, we would be having a discussion. I would be recommending the Board of Selectmen to have a discussion with that town's board. Like I said, this is only May.
What are you trying to say? You trying to say Plastow's gonna come in here and Chief
No.
Knutson's gonna come in and wanna talk to the board?
No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, if Plastow is coming into Newton every other day, chief to chief, I'm gonna say he's gonna come and knock on the door. And it won't make a difference if it's Plastow, if it's Chief Pellerin from Kingston. I know Bob was at the meeting a few years ago when Kingston was going quite a bit to mutual aid to surrounding communities, and they brought all the surrounding communities in. That's all I'm saying. It's just, I'm just putting it out there because I already heard, why is Plastow or Amesbury coming to my house for a transport? I don't know how many times I have to say it. We're in a default budget. I have to, we'll get to the good part now. These are the good stuff, seriously. Captain Jana Lunas has completed his Pro Board training, and he is now a Pro Board Fire Inspector 1 and 2. He has also completed his Incident Command ICS 300, which that's quite a bit of training for him. Lieutenant Wilds, I always say his name wrong, has completed his ICS 300 training. Lieutenant Brandon Merrill has completed his EMT Advanced training, and he is now a nationally certified EMT Advanced. Firefighter Advanced Haley Sitar, who was with us this evening, has completed her Pro Board training and is now a Pro Board Fire Instructor 1, and she is enrolled currently in Fire Officer 1 at the Fire Academy. Firefighter Paramedic Brian Kane also completed his Pro Board training, and he is now a Pro Board Fire Instructor. Pro Board just means they're nationally certified. Okay? And the department would also like to thank our mutual aid partners, the State Fire Marshal, and especially Newton Police for their assistance with the structure fire we had during the month. And again, we do continue training. We just did an extrication drill a week ago, and we had other departments with us at 8 Merrimack Road doing training together.
Oh, good. Good deal. Thanks, Chief.
So even though the other towns are coming in here frequently, at least we've been, had the opportunity to reciprocate at times.
Yes, we were called Saturday evening to go to Plastow with the ambulance, and we couldn't staff the ambulance, so we didn't go. For May, there were 9 ALS transports, 10 BLS, and 5 no refusals. We call them no transports, but they were refusals. It's just, again, I brought that up about the chiefs, because Bob, you were sitting on the board, and you already, you know where I'm coming from.
Yep.
It just, it is what it is. Anything else?
I mean, we talked about it at great lengths as we were purchasing the ambulance, and I talked about how we were sitting in the meetings and what was taking place and the importance of trying to get the budget passed so that we would be able to man our 911 services appropriately. And that was the bottom line of the increase, basically, of our budget for last year, was 911 services. It wasn't like we were trying to slide anything past the people of this town. We weren't trying to collect extra money to do frivolous things. It was basically 911 for the fire department and for the police department, so that we could have the residents of this town properly taken care of with their emergency services. We'll see what happens this year when we put the budget out again. So we'll do the best we can with what we got.
I also had on the board, I don't know if it made it, was the step increases for the officers.
Yep.
Correct, there is 3. One of them, which would be Lieutenant Merrill, he would be the same as what the board voted the last time for Patrick Casey. It would be the base pay, and then once he completes his training, it would end up being the actual pay.
So with that said, I move to approve probationary Lieutenant Advance Brendan Merrill at $25 per hour with the future rate of $27.10 upon completion of training effective next pay period.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Joe. All in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. Just go right up the rest of them, Joe.
Okay, I move to approve the new hourly rate for Lieutenant Paramedic Taylor Poussard from $25 to $27.10. The rate increase will be effective next pay period.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
I move to approve the new hourly rate for Lieutenant Paramedic Devin Wilders from $25 to $27.10. The rate increase will be effective next pay period.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
And that would be unanimous. Congratulations, and thank you very much for your hard work and all your service. We appreciate it.
Thank you, board.
Thank you,
Thank
Chief.
you, Chief. Next. Rob, would you like to step up to the mic and speak to us? Police Chief Rob is going to talk to us about IT purchase.
So, do you want to go first, Dan, or? Okay.
So Chief came to me because he needed new computers. The computer, he'll explain it. I just figured out how we're gonna pay for it, but he'll explain why he needed new computers. As you can see, it's pretty expensive, and the chief was kind of scrambling and looking for ways that he could pay for it. And then I said, well, let me make my phone call. So I phoned a friend and met with Tricia. And it does fall under her umbrella of emergency services. So she is able to, she's gonna actually, not Tricia herself, but be able to pay for that. Right, so, which is huge, because when I say the chief was stressed about how he was gonna pay for this, it's an understatement.
Yeah.
So thankfully, Tricia was able to take care of it, and we should be good to go with that. So this isn't coming out of the general fund, it's not coming out of the chief's budget, it's coming out of a different spot. The chief will explain the need for it, which I completely understand. So that's what we're doing right now. Chief?
And again, this is Dan explaining that we're in a default budget and where we have to be creative in order to find these monies that are required in order to continue to maintain these services as best we can. And fortunately that Trish does her due diligence with the grants and the funds, and when she puts in for all kinds of reimbursements and monies, we're able to get some of that money into these emergency funds, which Dan was able to talk to her about to be able to do this and help equip the police department with. So
Yeah.
with that,
Yes.
go ahead, Rob.
Yep, so what's going to happen is we're going to be forced into a Windows update. We're all going to Windows 11, and all of the computers at the station are going to be okay. So all the desktops will be fine. They can support it. And only 6 of the laptops can't, and the cars. And they're vital. We need to get those laptops to be able to work, and that's, running things on the side of the road. That's our lifeline out there. So we can get by for a little bit, but when the big change comes in Rockingham County, everybody is going to Windows 11. So what's going to happen is we'll get stuff from the county attorney's office, from, you know, the courts, and we won't be able to open them with Windows 10. These laptops, these 6 aren't even that old, but they're gone. They will not support it because technology is changing all the time. So do you want to see the amounts? Do you want me to give you the amount?
They have it. We have
Okay.
it. They should, you guys all have it?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, they all have it.
Yeah, so like I said, it's only 6 laptops, and we're pricing the refurbished ones. So we're like, the new ones were like quadruple the money. So
Yeah.
we're assured that they're guaranteed, even though they're refurbished.
Yep.
What are they doing with the old ones? Is there
I-
a trade back or anything?
No, they won't take it like a trade or anything like that, because they're like outdated now, you know? So they'll probably be a paperweight or something.
Are your laptops, I don't know how they're set up in the car, so
Yeah.
pardon my ignorance if this is a stupid question, but are they set up where all the data sits in the cloud, or is there information sitting on those laptops that need to be cleaned out and wiped out?
It's all in the cloud and what Rockingham uses. So when we're offline, there'll be nothing there. There's like some local stuff like, you know, street maps, things like that. That's local.
Yeah, all that.
And your confidential information, like, make sure they were cleaned out,
Yeah,
nothing?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's it.
I'll make a motion to accept this quote from Block 5 in the amount of, is this amount good? Like it's solid if I use that number, or do you want me to use like a round number?
No, that's the exact quote.
Okay. For $17,463.84 to be paid out of
Emergency Management Ops account ending in 3025.
what she said, Robin.
Second that.
Are you good, Robin?
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
We got a second on that?
Yeah, Joe seconded it.
Joe seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to thank Tricia because like this is, we couldn't survive without these laptops, and that's the truth.
I'm glad we figured it out, Chief.
I want who's the name after me. Fire truck, I didn't get the fire truck.
Bob, did you want to talk about the peddler's permit for Fidium?
I believe that Katrina just sent them out. To be honest with you, I didn't go over with her. I just know that they're applying for it.
So, Robert, is this on because they need it? Is it a time factor? No. I know the board has to approve it.
Yeah.
Is it a time factor?
It looks like they're starting June 4th.
Yeah, they wanted to start before you guys gave the approval. And I think they were going door to door at one point.
522.
Yeah, June
Yeah.
4th.
It looks like it's 522.
But I just backed it as a motion because obviously they can't
What's your
start
thoughts on
before they
this,
get the
Dan?
approval. And I think the last time we did one, we put hours on it and.
That's my thought right now, is
So it says that.
I think there's some hours in there. 9 to 4.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it. They're a legit company
is the hours on there? Where are the hours
in this
listed?
area.
9 to 4, Dan. It's right on the
Right.
the blurb.
Oh, on the blur. Oh, it's not in the permit application?
Well, I think that's why we're gonna restrict the hours. They didn't put them in yet.
Okay.
That's important because we've got a ton of complaints, so they're working late.
No, 9 to 4 is,
Yeah, so typically on that application, there were never hours, but I think when Kane came, he suggested that we do hours and it
Right.
worked out well last time.
Okay,
so the
why-
current application doesn't have hours on it.
Correct.
So we should add that onto the application that,
Or maybe that is a restriction.
we can add it as on, like in bold letters at the top, that all of the hours are from this point to this point, period, and then that's it.
Don't let them pick.
So,
No, they're not allowed to pick their own hours. We
Yeah.
pick the hours.
Right.
but, yeah, so why 9 AM? Why can't they start earlier?
I think that was Chief Kane's suggestion back then.
Business hours.
Business hours, we can do, I'm fine with 8 to 4.
Think about, I don't know how much noise this is gonna take, right? But commercial landscapers start at 7 AM and go till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night.
I don't suggest these people knocking on somebody's door at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I don't want to knock on my door.
I get it, but 8 o'clock to what? Like 8 to 5, 6?
No, say, keep it at 9 o'clock.
I know it says 9 to 4, I'm saying
9 to 4.
8 to 5 is okay?
9 to 4. Keep it.
Business hours?
Well, the only problem with that is that a lot of people working,
Yeah, then-
no one is gonna be home.
Yeah, then they'll be interfering with people's dinner hour at 5 o'clock, so we don't want that to
The other
happen.
downside at 5 o'clock.
The solar guys come knocking on my house at 6, 7 o'clock at night, like,
They get a permit? Probably shouldn't be.
they're out knocking.
Make a call. So you need an addendum to this, or it's strictly right in here anyway?
If people are coming home from work around 5, last thing you want is to
Yeah,
come
you
out
don't
your
want
car
someone-
and be bombarded in your driveway by somebody.
You know what, we can go forward with 8 to 5, and if we're hearing complaints, we'll back it back down on the next one. Like, I'm good with it. I understand Mike's point of view. I mean, everybody's trying to
Have
make
to be a little
money
bit
and-
friendlier to business, that's all I'm saying.
Like, I get that, so I mean, I think that I'm good with going 8 to 5 right now, and then if we catch flack for it, like if we have residents complaining to it, they're already gonna complain about it, but if they're complaining about the hours enough that we'll just readjust for the next one, that's how I suggest it to go forward. But I'm good with 8 to 5 for this one.
Yeah.
And we'll try it out.
Night,
8 to
kids.
5 works for me.
Night.
So I'll move to approve the peddler's permit for Marcus Neff, Micah Miller, Michael Buck, Travis Teeger, for Fidium fiber optic internet from June 4th, 2025 to August 25th, 2025, during the hours of 8 AM to 5 PM for the purpose of offering services door to door.
Second.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Joe. All in favor?
Aye.
All set. So we'll get that out to them. Next, Mr. Guide.
Oh, sweet. Mine is gonna be a lot shorter than Trish's, I can guarantee you that. So I read this thing, and it's pretty, like, I'm fine with it. Some of it's old and outdated, like CD-ROM and stuff like that. Like, we can X that out, or I can just add one line. I just wanna add one line.
Add the one line.
What do you want to add?
And the one line would be like after like passwords per se, it would literally say emails, and then all elected officials and town employees doing town business must have a town
Required,
email address.
right. They're required to
No
have
exceptions.
Yep.
So if you're elected and you're doing town business with your email, you need to have a town email address. So if I get an email from you, Joe, just for instance, and from your personal email, I'm gonna call you out on it and be like, dude, you need to use the town email. You need to get set up and get one. You know, I won't accept your emails until you do that. I think just that one line is enough to put it out there that this is the way it's going forward. And now, if we have this in the policy going forward, that's part of their onboarding, right? When they're meeting with MJ, meeting with Robin, Robin's like, all right, here's your email. Oh, I don't need one. No, you have to have one. It's in our policy. So I think just that one line is enough.
Elected and or appointed though.
I said elected or town employee, like either way.
Well, appointed, yeah.
Because I don't want, Chief's got his hand up, but I don't want, if he has somebody on the fire department and they're conducting town business, then they need to do it with a town email. I don't care if he names them fire1@newtonnh.net, but that's what they need to use. Go ahead, Chief, what do you got?
The question I have to it, if I may, is there's a cost involved in it.
Oh, yeah.
So when would this take effect? Because as you heard, we have new fire inspectors that don't have,
So-
they're using their own personal email.
Yeah, so they're gonna need one or just one email that's fireinspector@newtonnh.net, and all the fire inspector emails go to that email. Do you know what I mean, Chief?
Trust me, I've been saying this.
Yeah, no, they need to not do it with, that's a perfect example of what I don't want to happen. So I want that to all go through the town email, okay? Even if this policy doesn't pass, I still want them to go through a town email. Get in touch with Robin and set up a town email. Like,
Right.
'cause
And
yeah.
that means we need to educate every employee, official, that if you're using the town email address, but you are not using a town computer or device, you are subject under discovery.
Yep.
And what the pros and cons, and we need to make sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I get it. I 100% agree. It's just education, right? But I mean, we're all what, seasoned veterans. We know that now, you know what I mean? We know that the town email's on our phones. And,
Want a rookie, fire or police, or somebody that we bring in,
yep,
doesn't have that understanding,
exactly.
that if you're using, I use this for town business and work,
Yep.
and it's my personal, so if all of a sudden I get sued and I'm in discovery mode, this is now,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Discovery.
And the pros and cons, like if you decide to delete something, like you
I
need to know what you're
100%.
doing.
Yep, I
Okay.
agree. So,
So, Dan, on this is also internet access policy. Can we talk with Armon or maybe add to this? The town building should have a secured network for all the town computers. Business should be done on a different network than, say, guest network, which is currently what we have. We have one network for everybody.
is it on? Like right now, you guys' laptops are connected to the guest network?
We're connected to the guest network.
Yep.
The town one's broken now. It's been a little while. But we should fix this, but we should also put in a policy that Armon would set up the town network in the computers, and the password would be saved in the computers so that you don't know the password, they don't know the password. So you can't share the town network password. So that, and then if Armon wants to change it once a month and update our computers, so be it.
Yeah.
But we really should isolate
No, I agree.
from everywhere else.
I agree with that. I don't think it actually needs to be in a policy. That should just be common practice.
Right.
That's my opinion. Like, so I don't think it sounds basic to me for you guys to say that was not, that the Wi-Fi's down. Like, no, let's get that corrected. And I like your idea of having it set up on the computers.
Right, so then it also restricts employees from putting their phone on a private network to pull a file.
Sure.
That's not supposed to be.
Yep,
on the
no,
phone.
you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I mean, we can put it in the policy if you guys want, but I just, like I said, Joe, that's like common sense to me.
Things aren't common anymore.
I'd have to think about how to word it.
I think we go back to good business practice, not policies on that. I agree with you.
Okay.
Chief, you had something?
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, when the fire station was set up at Allen, we have two networks. We have the main network for the fire department, which is the data.
Yep.
I don't even have a password for that. The only one that has the password to get into that switch is Allen.
Okay.
Then they put
Guest network.
Guest network, and that's what everybody uses. They do not want nobody plugging in. And where the confusion comes is more on the EOC side, because in the drill room, where the EOC meets, they put network plugs up in the ceiling. Well, I think there's 6 plugs.
I think so.
Well, that's crews that come in for Trish, that if they can't go into the guest, they plug into that. So technically, they're not supposed to plug in
Okay.
to there. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
But we have 2 separate, and like Joe said, nobody's got that password except Armand.
Okay.
If Armand ever decides to leave, we gotta kind of remember, we gotta get the password from him.
Okay.
Are you set up that way? You have a separate for the police department and a guest there? How do you? Just
You
one.
don't have a guest network. No. Right, people are only there for a few minutes. Yeah, no guests.
If you're,
I've seen a
if you're
room
a
where,
guest, you shouldn't have a phone on you because you're sitting in a cell.
I've seen that nice little area they have for the guests. Yeah, nice handcuffs that go with them. I mean, sorry, bracelets, I meant, sorry.
Yeah. So everybody knows that this is the last year of our contract with Armon right now, and I'm currently going through it, so these are all things that I'll take in and start to formulate how we're gonna go forward and put it out there, so all good stuff. Just so you guys are all aware, you guys too, so.
If we're gonna talk to Alma, maybe the other thing would be also, maybe restrict some sites, certain sites from the town network.
Okay.
People aren't, like, say, social medias or whatever, if you're on a town computer on the town network, you don't need to be on social media or shopping sites. Maybe that's just a,
Yeah, I'm not going down that road.
Yeah, I don't, so like you say shopping sites, I can't tell you the amount of times I've told Robin to get something off of Amazon.
Exactly.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, how many times?
Okay.
shopping sites with like maybe Twitters or Facebook and Instagrams and that crap that.
If they're gonna do that during their
Shouldn't be on
lunch
the
hour,
computer anyways.
no. If they're gonna do that during their lunch hour, that's their time. There are certain sites that I don't want them on, and it usually starts with an X in front of it. Other than that, if they're doing a Facebook people still need to be people. And I'm not going down this dictator road right now. So if you guys wanna have a private discussion, we can, but our employees are our employees too. They need a life.
Okay.
Can you just verify that it was not me shopping?
It was totally you.
Did you get me anything good?
I'll tell you later.
All right, so that sounds
Up,
good.
I'm,
All right, well, actually, so like, for right now, all in favor of my line, adding it to, I make a motion to add that line to the electronics policy.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Robin, after we add that and update it, will you send it out to let everybody know? Well, we'll make an email about the things that Mike had talked about in the new edition, so everybody knows going forward, this is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah, all the department heads, and then they can discuss it with
Right,
their
and
employees.
Chief, you can relay the information now that you will have one set up for that specifically, and they can all use that one. You know what I mean? It doesn't have, I don't need 4 different ones, just that one.
Yeah,
And any other ones you need, let us know, and we'll make them. It's not a big
and all
deal.
they gotta do is attach their name in the email, that's all.
Yeah.
It's not expensive.
What?
Somebody second the motion.
Yes.
One of these guys.
Joe, the two Joes seconded it, but, so pick one.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll take care of that, so we can get it out to everybody.
Yeah.
Emails can't be that much, right?
No, they're not expensive. It's $46 for email and office, but if it's just email.
It's just gonna be
much
just
cheaper.
email, right? This is all we're talking, all we're discussing, that's all, just email.
And doing this also, we just went through this in Kingston, it helps with the 91A requests. It makes it, even
Yeah.
if it's on your phone, they won't go after your phone because it's on the cloud.
It's on the cloud, right?
Right.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, at some point, if we wanted to, we can read every town email there is. We've never done it, I've never done it personally, I don't think they've ever done it, but it is a capability if we need to,
If they need
just
a
so
license.
everybody knows that it's good that everybody knows that they could be read at any point in time. Just saying.
Good hygiene with email is important. I'll leave it there.
Yep. So, sweet. That's one.
Thank you, Dan. Trish,
No, I thought mine was gonna be a lot shorter, Trish, so you might beat me.
Trish is gonna talk to us about the ID badge policy.
And again, I just edited what we already had. You may not like it, you may want to add to it. A lot of it shouldn't apply to, like, Mary Jo doesn't need an ID badge, so when you walk in, you know that's the town clerk. I mean, some of this was absolutely ridiculous. Again, somebody else way before me did this. Well, actually, I was a selectman at the time.
You voted for it.
At the time, I did. So, boy, I feel like I'm really loud, huh? So I really think a lot of this, what I looked at was I struck out what I didn't think we needed, and then in red, I added what I thought we should. I mainly need it for the EOC and conservation. When we're out, we're on site walks, and, you know, so we've got a vest on, a yellow vest, big deal. A lot of times people say, well, who are you? I started printing out business cards that we could hand to people if we had to. But the ID badge, like for conservation, would be so much better. There were times on ZBA where we did site walks. We all should have had a name badge on. Nobody knew who we were. In the EOC, it's a security. Homeland Security wants us identified. So it's great that we put our little name plaques in front of our seats. But when we get up walking around, we should have a name badge on so that we know who's there, who isn't, who's excusing themselves to go to the restroom or leave the facility. Homeland Security wants to know who they are. So this was just my suggestions for kind of my personal needs at the EOC and possibly what conservation, maybe even recreation. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a town event and I honestly don't know all the people on rec, and I would say, oh, is that so-and-so? Because I needed to ask them something about the event. So this is for you to critique a little bit more if necessary, or you can say, okay, it's good for the EOC, maybe conservation and maybe rec, or maybe not. That's gonna be up to you, but that's what I did.
So I can totally see your point of view. If you're doing site walks, you guys should be all badged up.
We should be.
Like,
Yep.
just like the one that you went to, the guy that cut all the trees down on
Yes.
Whittier, like if you had a badge, it would have been a little bit better than you guys just roaming onto this guy's land.
Yes.
I do like that idea, really do, for site walks and stuff like that. For rec things, I'm gonna let rec run rec. I
Yeah,
don't
oh,
want
that's
to-
why I just said, it's up to them.
I don't want to do anything like that,
Yep.
but it is a good idea, and I do like it. I don't think I would require rec to do it, or if they don't want, I would let rec run rec. I don't want to.
Or any other committee.
The question I have with it is if this was an existing town policy,
Yes, it was.
should it stay as a town policy and incorporate all the departments? We talked, police and fire they're doing ID badges. I was only, Bob talked, right? Robin doesn't need it at her desk.
No.
Right?
That's
People
why
in
I
voting don't need it, but it's
yes.
like we're at town hall doing voting. You know, and you have a ballot clerk, it's different people sitting in the back of where people are voting. It probably would be better to have a badge that they, so somebody doesn't think they can get in on them, or whatever. There are certain areas that a badge would be better for maybe all departments. So
And
to keep it
again-
as a town policy may seem like a better idea versus individual department policies.
Well, again, to bring up elections, and am I cutting you off? Okay. Everybody that works elections, everybody has a name tag. Mary Jo and Bob Dismelik, we all have name tags so that they know you're a ballot clerk, you're supervisor of the checklist, whatever. So for those type of things, it's not a name badge, it's kind of a cool looking badge, similar to your selectman badges that you wear when you go out in public. And it can be, like you said, for the town hall, excepting there's so much here that's really stupid.
Oh, yeah,
No, there was a lot of things on that.
Right.
And I was only going, because you went to Zazzle, I think, and saw it and got a price on a badge. And I think the police
Yep.
chief and fire chief were looking at getting badges for them, but I had looked into a printer. Just to, prints an ID card, like a credit
Right.
card, that has a punch out and you just clip a lanyard on it. It's
Yep.
front and back color, photos can be printed on it. And I was wondering if it makes more sense to buy something of that and maybe put it at the police station, have the police station issue them to people that need them.
Well, we talked about that. I talked with the chief, and I talked to actually Mike Jewett when he was still here, and it became problematic because all of a sudden everyone had to go to, now it's Katrina, but it was somebody else to get a name badge, take your picture, do this, do that. So they actually
another
back a
minute.
while ago, did away with doing it themselves, and they third-party it out. And it's much easier, it's cleaner, which is why I went and played around with Zazzle, which did I tell you? I don't know. I don't have my badge yet because the credit card I used got declined. So it wasn't my credit card. So I can't show it to you, but it seemed like it was easier to third-party site it out, because otherwise what you're doing is you're putting with either the police or the fire or somebody else in charge of it, and they may want it. The police and fire might want it. Yes. Okay, oh, thank you. So this is the company that they third-party site it out. It's really a nice badge. And it's very reasonable. It really
So
is.
can we use one company to do all departments? That's
We
the
could,
difference.
yeah, because Katrina gave me their information and I could call them. So we could, if we wanted to, use them.
Look a lot younger in this room.
I wasn't gonna say that.
My only thing with picking one company
Yep.
would be that if there's a database of employees in the town and this vendor, one vendor knows those people, so that say a resident in town couldn't just go call Zazzle and get a Bayou Beach badge that matches yours and says
Yep.
they have a,
Yep.
you know,
And
this would be from one vendor that knows that, yes, they're actually an employee or an appointed person or an elected person.
And they do mostly, police and fire. They're an approved vendor for that,
Right.
yeah.
How much is it per badge?
Do you remember? I don't remember. Yeah,
I can find out, and I bet if we did
A town.
the whole town, it would be a lot less.
Right.
I
right.
bet.
Yeah,
I would rather,
I'm all in favor
I
of,
would rather have one vendor do.
Oh, I
all
agree.
badges,
Yes.
So that we don't have multiple badges out there that are all different.
All different, yep.
Anybody could call up and get their own badge and.
I completely agree, 100%.
who will be the primary contact department to handle it?
The department head.
Yeah, typically, when Katrina and I talked, and Mike Jewett and I talked, and
6 people calling these
it
people.
was the department head was the one that had all the information that was gonna go into the system, and they would, again, they'd hold the data, so that you're not, again, putting it on one person, say Katrina, to do the whole town. That's not fair.
So maybe there's a way that we can, through payroll, find a town admin, find HR, give that vendor a list of all town employees or elected people or appointed people.
Or who, right.
And we don't need to print a badge for everybody, but at least they have the list, and if you call and say XYZ needs a badge, they're on the list, they get printed.
Yeah, I wouldn't just say elected people as a blanket, because there's some elected positions that don't need a badge.
No, that's why I said the department head would need to call and say, these 3 people need a badge.
Yeah.
And then that vendor would say, oh yeah, they're on the list, they can get a badge.
Right.
So once we get this up and running, right, the only problem we have is getting it up and running. But after that, if you think of the process, there's gonna be a few changes here and there each year. So it's up to the department head to communicate to the town administrator and put the town administrator in charge of communication, so it's one person, and the vendor knows it's coming from one person, and that's the official communication.
Right.
So the process should be very simply, when you have a need, and it's not a reactive need, it's I'm hiring somebody, here's what's going on, good
Right.
communication to the TA.
Right.
And the TA prepares it.
Right.
Yep.
And that's why this was just a draft so we could start talking about it.
Yep.
Because now, look at the great decisions you guys just talked about, so that's great.
It's into the 21st century a little more.
Yeah, right. Okay, I think that was all I had.
All right.
A question though.
Yeah, so get us that price,
Okay,
right?
I will.
Figure that out, get that price.
I'll get it with Katrina.
Come back to us with that pricing.
Okay.
And then, what do you guys want to do with the policy? Do you want to accept it as is? Do you guys want to digest it a little bit, or?
I still want to digest,
Yeah.
you did a great job, I just want to digest a little bit more.
That's fine, I want to make sure we're clear of where our direction,
You
that's
know,
all.
it's a beginning worksheet for you.
Okay,
Can we put this on the next meeting, just to bring it back up again?
yeah. As long as she has the price by then.
Okay,
If she doesn't have the price at that point, then no, we'll just,
okay.
skip it.
One other thing about your computer policy, when you're talking about your contracts for the end of the year and what we're doing, way back when, Armon said, and that's why you'll see in my thing when I was editing it, I put it in red, when they talked about backup weekly, and I did question mark, because at one time, Armon said they were backing up regularly off-site. So if we ever leave them, I want you to know that they did say that. I was a selectman at the time. Where that backup is and what it contains, and is it all of our stuff here at Town Hall? Is it Mary Jo's? What is it? Just so that you know, they did tell me that's out there.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, my question is, they're telling you it's backed up. To what?
To something that
That's what she
they've got
doesn't know.
somewhere in East Overshoe.
She
I'm only
doesn't
kidding.
know if it's on the cloud, to a server, to a hard server, like,
Well, typically when I hear backup, I want to make sure they're not doing it the old-fashioned way. It's on some tape somewhere.
That's what I don't know. They never were really clear. They just said, we've got the backups, we're doing backups.
I guess we're gonna find out.
So let's just find out, because if they have a big server in a cloud that's in a colo facility, that's a data export, we can get it easy.
Right.
When it goes to those stupid tapes, they're gonna export
Yep.
it to a tape, it's miserable. That technology's so outdated.
Okay.
So let's just make sure.
I just wanted you to know that.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trish.
Trish, you should just stay up there,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yep. Conservation appointments?
Sure. So we have two, hopefully in front of you. I know one is Rachel Nelson. I can't remember who the other one is.
Rob Halleck?
Oh, Rob Halleck, yep.
Yep.
Rachel is brand new. She's kind of excited to be on conservation. She's lived in town for a little while. She does have horses. She's very much used to all our trails. She rides, she walks, younger than many of us that don't walk as much as she does. So it's been a pleasure. She's already been to all of our meetings and to a few site walks as an observer. So she's great. Rob is another naturalist. He's very involved. He does a lot of education on his own, a lot of webinars. So this is just a renewal for him, if it's okay with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I move to appoint Rob Pollock to Conservation Commission with a term to expire on April 30th, 2029.
Second.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
I move to appoint Rachel Nelson to the Conservation Commission as an alternate member with a term to expire March 31st, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Joe, seconded by Joe, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Trish, you
you.
want to talk about the Seabrook?
Wait a second, Trish,
Yes.
before you go, just going back to your earlier conversation, because it says, we're talking about conservation. If you have to do a site walk, you'll get your badge, all that stuff, but if you have a site walk to do, do you notify the police or somebody that you're gonna be out on site, so if an incident happens, they know where you are?
It depends
your
on,
people?
yeah, we do sometimes. It kind of depends on the issue, yes.
I think that's good practice, just
Okay,
for you and your team. You're doing a site walk, let our
sure.
folks on duty know what you're doing.
Do that going forward.
Going forward, okay.
Wherever you're going, just let the chief know, or Katrina, and be like, hey, we're going to.
We'll do
X,
that.
And that's where we'll be. I'll call you when I'm done there. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Just for safety. that's
It
all.
is. No, that's a great idea.
Be safe that way.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure. Okay,
call.
the Seabrook thing?
Yep.
So every 2.5 years, we have to work with the Seabrook Newt plant and Homeland Security and rewrite the plan. This is not a plan we can edit. It really comes from them. I get to sit down with them and work with them. Paul is probably aware of it in Kingston. This plan, I have to, once it is adopted by the Board of Selectmen, I have to send to Homeland Security and Seabrook. And this plan is basically the job descriptions of what happens if there's a release. And I've got to follow, or we all have to follow it. Some of you are involved as part of the team. And this is also what gives us, we're under contract. If we follow these plans, we actually get money that we're actually working on finding. I have a contract, and I get like $8,500 a year for certain things. I get, they'll pay for training. When we have drills, they pay for all the payroll, and it comes from these stipends that they send to us because we have a signed plan that says that's what they're gonna do. So that's what this is about. I forget how many pages it is, 49, 50, whatever it is. The signature, is it? Okay. So the signature page should be, if you vote on it, should be signed by the chairman, and then once you give that to me, I will complete the package and send it back to them. They're working on giving us a binder, so if you didn't print them out, everything, don't yet. They're gonna give us the whole plan together, signed. They get to sign it as well after we adopt it. Okay?
So I move to authorize Chairman Robert Marchand to sign the radiological response plan.
Second.
Motion by Joe, second by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
There you go. Now you're done. All right.
All right. Yep. So we received the resignation of our, transfer station administrator, Pete Gagnon, who, he informed me that his daughter's getting older and he's been working a lot of weekends. He said about 20 years worth, and that he would like to be able to start to spend some time with his daughter. She just turned 12. So he's looking to shift his jobs, and he's retiring from his position at our transfer station. So he sent it in the other week. He gave us a month. However, he did say that if it's going to take us a little bit longer, that he would hang in there as long as he could to try to help us and allow us to fill his position. We truly do appreciate Pete and all his hard work that he's put in down there. And I would just like to say that we accept his resignation, and hopefully we'll be able to find somebody to replace him. As we all know, it's very hard to find people to work in any position when it comes to a town, especially somebody in this, because this is something that requires specific qualifications with Department of Environmental Services, certain trainings to become a level 4 tech in order to run a transfer station. So with that, the board accepts Pete's letter, and we wish him well on his future endeavors. And from that, we will, did you want to say something, Trish?
Make a motion.
It's not really about, it's about the transfer station, since you're talking about it. I just want the millions of people in TV land to know that Thursday you can start bringing brush back to the transfer station. So Robin will fix the note on the website, I'll fix my sign so that people will know. And our road agent he's gonna be contacting you. He's checking to see if the chips that we chipped are clean, and if they are, we may be able to come up with something for residents to be able to use them, but he's gonna talk to you about that.
Okay.
All right, but mainly, starting Thursday, you can start bringing your brush back to the transfer station, okay?
Very nice, thank you, Trish.
Making a motion to accept this resignation.
No?
Don't need a motion. Consent agenda,
I move to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
motion by Joe, seconded by Dan, all in favor? Aye. Couple things, we were informed by, or requested by Brian Chaput, He is the operations supervisor at Granite State Gas Transmission. This is about the 10-inch natural gas line, which is owned and operated by Unitil. He apparently stopped by the town offices, and he was looking for permission to utilize the town-owned property at 5 Wallace Road for a pipeline construction project this August. So there's some work that's required to be done. I asked Robin to send him an email, to which she did, to see if maybe the next meeting he could come in and just advise the public about what's going to be taking place and what's going on. I don't foresee that we would have an issue with them using our property to access what they need to be done.
As long as they don't disturb it.
He said they will return it back to its natural,
Don't they already have an easement?
Because I believe there's wetlands there, correct? That's wetlands back there, isn't it, Trish?
So, he does need our permission. I met with him, and he laid out what they're doing. And I talked to Mike Pavero already about it, and Mike said it's very common. He said he didn't think it was gonna happen this soon, is what they're doing. So like, they legitimately cut out a 10-inch section of pipe. They cut out a 10-inch section of pipe on the other end. They fill it with water, and then they pressure test it.
Oh, it's the pressure test, yeah.
Right, so Mike said super common. He said the spots that he wanted to use, so the reason why it had a map is because Mike said, I want to see where they want to do it. I said, okay. So I told him to send me where he wants to set up. I don't know if Mike has seen the map yet because we had just got this today. Was it today?
yeah.
Yesterday. Either way, I had already sent it to Mike. I haven't spoken to Mike since I sent it to him. But Mike seemed like it was a very normal thing, and we have the room to do it, and they will put it back or better than what it is now. They lay down a bunch of stuff so they don't screw everything up. They will have to cut some brush, but it's all brush. None of it's like actual trees, so it'll be fine. It's gonna grow back. But anyways, we can ask him to come in here if you want, but I've already spoken to him, and I feel like I have a good handle of what is gonna happen, you know what I mean?
If you have it covered,
I
I
had asked and requested it just so that he would be able to address the public.
Yeah.
So that they wouldn't be, there would be no,
Well, I guess if the public has questions, they can call me.
well, yeah,
Or Mike.
I just figured with the department head coming from
Yeah.
the company itself to do a presentation real quick, it would put them at ease so that they didn't think that there was a possible issue
Sure.
with what was going on with the gas line, because I didn't want a frenzy created on social media about what
Still
was
will
going
be, doesn't
on.
matter. You could have him in and do his presentation.
What are they doing? Why are they doing?
You're
I
still
know,
gonna get
but,
it.
but like what we always talk about transparency, so I figured if they were willing to do it, or send somebody just to be able to do a quick blurb on it so that the public would be more at ease. What else was there? So Sunday when I went to the transfer station, he also handed me a letter. The company that we started using from the New Hampshire people, they have revamped their policy. So they sent us a letter requesting that we review it and their new policy, and I gave it to Paula to sign, send off from the town saying that we have. Pete is addressing it with some pictures and whatever, because what they want is two-stage setup for the metals, because what they don't want is the public to have access to it, because they're afraid of contaminants, of battery, of gas, of oil. They sent in their email that we have not had any up to this date, but they want us to be able to demonstrate that we will be in compliance with their new procedures in order for them to continue to proceed and pick up our metal pile.
What's that gonna take on our end to make sure we do that?
So, like I said, Pete's already addressing it, writing a letter out to them, how when the metal people come in, the metal's addressed from the person at the booth, and then they're taken over. And the metals are all inspected before they're even put down and put in place, so that they're put in at the beginning of the pile, so that they can be looked at again before they're pushed into the pile to be accepted.
There's no additional cost on our end then?
No,
Other than what they're supposed to be doing anyway?
Exactly, just, again, it's to make sure that the contaminants don't get put in there. Whether it's something that might have a battery in it, or, a propane tank with the valve still on it, or oil, gas, a lawnmower, snow blower, if somebody tried to put that in.
Good deal.
A refrigerator or anything like that that would have Freon in it. So Paula got that letter signed and sent off, and Pete was supposed to address the other thing. That way there, like I said, we can get the metal pile picked up, because it's starting to get out of control.
That's not why the metal pile's not picked up.
No, I know,
To be clear, that's not the reason.
They were contacted, but they had a project or something that they were doing.
No, they redid something with their computers and everything went down, and it was down for a week and a half. Did you even get an email back saying, they said they were gonna email you back when they were operational again?
Yeah, and then they said they were overbooked, that's the email we got, right, Bob? So, yes.
Okay.
So,
No word on when they're gonna come out.
no.
They said that they would let us know
Yeah.
when they were able to
Okay.
do all the scheduling. So that's that. Was there anything else that I'm forgetting?
Town hall will be closed Thursday, June 19th, in honor of Juneteenth Day.
Yes. Oh, and there was. I want to thank everybody who came out for the Memorial Day parade. We had a very nice showing. I want to thank all the people who came and participated in the ceremony at the cemetery. I thought it was a very nice ceremony. We had it was nice that we had somebody actually do taps this year. Again, yeah,
She wants to come back next year, too.
yep. And then God Bless America. Her name's escaping me.
Amanda Kelly.
What is it?
Amanda Kelly.
Amanda, that's it. She did a wonderful job again. And then all our vets who showed up. It was very nice. And then, of course, all our little leaguers who marched in at the very end and came down to the ceremony. So with that, I just, again, want to thank them very much for everybody who participated. It was a very nice day. Anybody else? Yep.
I'll move to enter into a non-public session under RSA 91B and C.
Motion to go in RSA, made by Joe, seconded by Joe, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we will come out of public into non-public at 7:19.